that vision we saw. It was as if it was meant specifically for us.
What do you make of it? Do you still think the will of Dana might be involved somehow?
Maybe it's trying to tell us something. But what?
Well, it could be supernatural. You know, like seeing dead people, messages from beyond the grave, ghost-type stuff.
That's your grand theory? That we're being haunted? Come on, Law.
Wait. He might be closer to the mark than you think. What if a person's thoughts and deeds were to somehow become indelibly etched into the ether of a place? And what if those with a connection could then somehow pick up on them?
You think that's what it was? Some kind of message someone left here for us?
I am merely entertaining the possibility. Whether it was Dana's will, or somehow connected to the Sovereign and Maiden's powers, I do not know.
Okay, back up a sec. You're saying that if a place is full of enough astral energy, it can somehow show us events that happened centuries ago?
More to the point, how does that much astral energy gather in one place anyway? Seems unlikely it happened naturally.
Whatever it was, it survived here intact for 300 years. Whoever left it for us, the strength of their intent is beyond doubt.
The strength of their intent. Soon, we might very well learn the truth behind Shion's thorns. As well as my own past, I have to be ready to face anything. Whatever happens. I'm determined to save Shion and Dana. Nothing I learn can change that. Hold up, you guys.
What is it?
I want to look through that room over there. I'm curious what we'll find.
That's the room you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out. This looks like some kind of research facility.
A laboratory secreted away in the Forbidden Zone. Why am I past being surprised at this point?
Looks pretty deserted.
Let's check it out. It might give us a new lead.
For the people of Lenegis, the Forbidden Zone is the stuff of dreams. Yet here I am, standing within its hallowed halls.
It's off limits even for lords, then? Talk about an exclusive club.
Being exclusive is one thing, but how many important facilities let in only the Sovereign? Doesn't that seem a little strange?
Strange doesn't cover it. If it was only one room, maybe. But a place on this scale? How do they keep it from falling into ruin? Whoever the Sovereign is, they can't manage the upkeep of this whole place themselves.
Did no one ever talk about it when you were growing up?
No, not that I can remember. Then again, Sovereigns and Forbidden Zones weren't exactly breakfast table conversations.
The Forbidden Zone is a hallowed place, at one with the Sovereign's authority, grounds of the one true ruler who presides over all Renans. That is what we believed this place to be. No, what we were made to believe it was. But now, it is finally time to discover this area's true purpose, and why it was kept hidden behind the scenes for so long. I think I can make this work.
Well, can you make head or tail of it?
These are experiment records, by the looks of it. Reams of them, dating back hundreds of years. Let's see. A composite being capable of controlling Danon astral energy, so as to convert its molecular and elemental makeup. The creation of a governing central figure, taking the form of a Danon. Codename Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy containment. That must be the Master Course. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the Lords, too.
About the Lords? Why would they be on there?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular Renan citizens. In other words, it may be that all Renans are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of grand scheme.
What about the Sovereign? Does it say anything else?
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here. To sift through all of it would require specialized... Wait.
What is it? Did you find something?
It's a list of names, with the title Test Subjects, Sovereign. It's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them failures. Wait, I think I've found one that was successful. Test subject number 1273. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Alphen.
They re-engineered me. Right here in this lab.
Alphen.
It's fine, really. What about the others? Was I the only one?
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Volron.
Volron? But that means...
He's only Sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, you and Volron are the only 2 subjects on whom the experiment was a success.
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Upon victory, the Sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and Lenegis combined. When a new Sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days on Rena. So we were told. But according to these records, there have only ever been 2 Sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do with the crown contest. It's all lies, including the part about the Sovereign residing in Rena. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised for some other purpose.
But even supposing that's true, someone must have been in charge for the past 3 centuries, right? If it wasn't the Sovereign, then who was it?
Crown contests have been held this whole time, in spite of the fact that there was already a Sovereign. Me. Meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm willing to bet is behind all this.
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's the mastermind behind this scheme. She could be working for someone else. Someone back on the Renan homeworld.
Either way, it's fair to say she's definitely involved somehow.
What about the data records? Is there no other information that could help us?
Not that I can see. Just file upon file of experiment results. There's nothing here about who's behind all this, or what their endgame is, unfortunately. I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all, but you're welcome to take a look through what you can, while we're here.
I'll do that.
So this is where Alphen became the Sovereign. And Volron as well. The significance of this location would suggest...
Hey, it looks like the terminals in here turned on too.
We should look through them. They might contain valuable information.
Only 2 Sovereigns in over 300 years. So why has the experiment only succeeded twice in all this time? And if that's the case, why keep on doing it? Was there really no other way? Or could there be some other reason?
Dohalim.
Forgive me.
Alphen.
I'm fine. I'm just a little shaken, that's all. I knew what I was already, so it's not like it's a surprise or anything. But it's strange. I've got all this rage inside of me, but I don't even know who it's for. I'm scared that I'll put a face to it, just to have someone to blame.
If that were to happen, then No. Then we'd help you fight it, before you ever got that far. Wouldn't we, everyone?
Yeah, we wouldn't just sit by and watch you spiral out of control.
That's right. No good can come from being consumed by hatred.
If you ever start to lose your way, you can count on us to guide you back. To remind you where home is.
And I would be happy to lend an attentive ear, should you ever have need.
Thank you, everyone. I think I'll be okay now. Naori, I...
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dana. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Renan never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But...
The mask contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Elfin. Farewell.
Naori...
His injuries are worse than I thought. Short-term treatment isn't going to cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%? And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system. But... If I don't head back, Lenegis will be nothing but ashes. And this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough. Please, live for me, Alphen.
That vision. It must have been from when Naori helped Alphen escape Lenegis.
She sure went above and beyond the call of duty.
Even with Lenegis crumbling down around her, she chose to stay put with her people.
So that's why you lost your memories and sense of pain, and why you were asleep for that whole time. It was all the result of one agonizing decision Naori made to save your life.
Yeah. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't even be alive today. I owe her everything. More than I could ever hope to repay.
Now that you know how she felt, how do you plan on honoring her wishes?
She kept her promise. If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent force, then I owe it to her to carry on her fight. Naori was the one who put that mask on me, and made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain as a result. But more than anything, she wanted you to survive. And you did.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renis Alma was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
The Renis Alma isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori?
What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign, they linked Alphen's consciousness to Lenegis itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth, and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to Lenegis itself? But then, everything that's been happening...
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lenegis had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alphen, the Sovereign, was in a starship bound for Dana. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted, and for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse on to my descendants as well. Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just...
Naori.
That message just now. Was it directly from Naori? Or was it the Danon voice speaking through her?
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a Maiden and Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shion.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't! You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you. Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've come all this way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena until we find it.
Yeah, we can protect the world and save Shion at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Shion. You included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop. Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then, that power she'd sealed away was passed down to you. I'm so sorry, Shion. It's my fault that you're cursed.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony and Naori's attempt to stop Oblivion. You paid a heavy price for it, and then fell asleep for 300 years. The reason you lost your memories
Is the reason for your curse.
the thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No. The truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, embracing everyone. All the normal things that people do together. I always wished I could experience them for myself, and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and...
That's not going to happen. I'm here to make sure it won't. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going to live a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's such a strange feeling. I know that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead, and it's for my sake, so I can live.
You're worth fighting for.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes. Until our future is finally in our hands.
Sounds like this Naori chick had quite the big heart.
Her position demanded nothing less. From the sound of things, she didn't focus on differences, least of all those between Renans and Danans.
Yeah. It was Naori who first showed me that such a thing was even possible. And then she saved my life by sending me back home to Dana.
Not only that, but she willingly stayed behind on Lenegis for the sake of her people. It sounds like she was quite the hero, all right. A truly caring person.
It's as if walls meant nothing to her. The one separating the Renans from the Danans, or herself from others. She had no need for them.
Which basically meant that she never had anything to break down in the first place, huh? Yeah. I think you may be right about that.
You inherited that legacy. Her wish for the world.
Don't I know it?
She's kind of like a lodestar guiding our way, showing us what we can aspire to.
That's quite some door, all right. This might finally be it. The heart of the beast.
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red Woman inside, right?
After everything we've been through to get here, they damn well better be.
We'll probably be needing you to open this one for us, Sovereign.
Go for it, Alphen.
This is it, guys. Time to see what secrets are in store.
We're a long way from the residential quarters now. It looks completely different.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, this place... it reminds me more of being back inside the Wedge.
Except the Danon astral energy feels even stronger here.
In a portion of the city reserved purely for the Renin Sovereign.
Maybe he just has strange tastes?
This place looks like it has been here for quite some time now. If its design were a matter of personal preference, we would be talking from centuries ago. Or perhaps even further back. Still, this isn't the sort of decadence of taste spoken of in artistic circles. So what is it then?
Hold up, decadence? Artistic circles?
When a preference is indulged to its extreme, it descends into kitsch, eccentricity for the sake of it. I'd be happy to illuminate you further.
That depends. Does it involve you buying me lunch?
The void that art fills isn't the stomach, it's the soul.
In that case, I'll let you know the next time my soul starts to rumble.
Now all we need is something to fill up the void inside your head.
Shut up!
Volron! He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then, is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
Wait, though. Something doesn't seem right here.
Rule once more. The powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Rena, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Hey, look! Over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the Maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but... are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
If If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion. Regardless, we cannot stand by and let them steal Dana's energy. That said, we should retrieve the Renis Alma. Because right now, we need that most of all.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alphen, look!
The Red Woman! So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
They all have the same face? How is that even possible? What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
They're not feeling particularly talkative.
It's no use, Alphen. If we don't fight, we may as well be sitting just here.
Good point. Let's stop them before this gets out of hand.
Dragon Swarm!
You're on!
Explosive ring!
Intensity speed! Harsh malevolence! Arcade healing circle!
Did you see this coming?
Mega ray! Orbit
Double demon fang!
Tiger blade!
Try harder!
Hurricane flame! This one's mine! Lightning radiant!
Hurricane
In here! Step into the fray!
One more!
Searing gale!
This one's mine!
Water snake wing!
Tiger blade! I'll heal you all!
On guard!
Healing
One
circle!
more! Tiger blade!
This should do it!
Hurricane strike! Glacier Storm! One more! Hurricane strike! This one's mine! Glacial Spear! Hurricane strike! This one's mine!
Searing gale!
How about this? Hurricane strike!
Double demon fang! I'm not done!
Appreciate that.
In here!
Handle it.
Dragon Swarm!
Into the shadow!
Here I come!
Flaming meteor!
Dragon Swarm!
Mega ray! Lightning
Try
orb!
this.
Gemini aqua! More with that!
Hurricane
Explosive
The
ring!
sky is mine!
On guard!
I'm not done!
This one's mine!
Here, let me help! Orbit of
Dazzling spin!
Light astral energy! More where that came from!
Going in! Hurricane strike!
I'll heal you all! Wailing Dusty of lightning! Healing circle! Divine dance in the wind!
Hurricane strike!
A chain between heaven and earth! A wailing Dusty of lightning!
Searing gale! No! Can't end here!
Don't leave me!
Look, their arts were interrupted. Take this!
May a thousand gales
Double demon
This
fang!
one's mine!
Take this!
One more! Going in! Hurricane strike!
Radiant
This one's mine!
I'll heal you all! Celestial
Hurricane strike!
Here, let me
Going in!
First aid!
Hurricane strike!
Try this!
Going in!
I'm all stuffed up!
Explosive ring!
Annihilation!
Here I come!
Sleep now.
Here, let me help!
First aid!
Piercing rock!
Lunar blast!
Searing gale!
Here's a healing arm!
Hurricane strike! Going in!
Lunar command!
Look sharp!
Gemini aqua!
Going in!
Annihilation! Hear me!
Searing
Flaming
gale!
You require a hand.
I'll heal you all! Healing circle!
Try harder!
Appreciate the help.
Dragon
Going
Swarm!
in! Flag assault!
Raging
Here I go!
Flaming
Flaming meteor!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
I'll heal you all!
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
Do you think it's really over?
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve!
What?
It's self-destructed?
Alphen!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much.
So you know this place?
Naturally, it was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart.
Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me?
You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alf, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of Sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Voron was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a...
A slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renin and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renin and Danan are meaningless distinctions. Me and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman?
Another one?
Give your master back on Renna this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Don't do it!
Serenus Alva!
It's too late. You can't stay here.
We need to go. Alphen!
go. But know I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything. Who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law! I am...
Are you two okay?
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Is Volron... have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
What, those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renaissalma. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now, those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renaissalma in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Renans or Danans.
Yeah, and not in a good way like with us.
I didn't see that coming about Volron. As for those red women, to think they were monsters all along.
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human. Next thing you know, they're not actually human at all.
They definitely weren't Renan or Danan. I'm not even sure language would get through to them.
So what were they then? Human Zoogle hybrids?
Is the most terrifying thing anyone's said all day?
How about you, Shion? Dohalim? You ever seen anything like that before?
No, never. However, if they're the same as the Red Woman we've seen with Volron, I think it's safe for us to assume they understand our language at the very least.
I had just so much I wanted to ask them. About Rena, and Shion's thorns.
Unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance. Why would they do such a thing, though? To take us with them? Or in order to keep something hidden?
Both sound plausible to my ears. They took off with the Renaissalma too, remember?
Yeah, they did. And the next time we meet them, we're going to make sure they tell us everything they know. Take this!
Hurricane
Dragon Swarm!
Here's evil!
Try this!
Fire support! So much for talking it out.
Here's a hero!
That'll bring you down.
I'm not done! It's over! Don't even
Will this look? I'm gone.
Try harder! Not a chance!
You've been
Smelling to me.
Appreciate
Yeah, and the pummeling to me.
I'll smash you!
Hurricane strike! Going in.
Do it more!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Glacier between heaven and earth. Evil! A wailing
Blaze Bang!
Higher!
Take this!
In here!
Take this!
I'll be
Lunar
saving
Rolling
you!
Storm!
Lunar blast!
Hurricane power!
You're
Where
finished!
would that came
Going
from?
in.
A comfortable win.
Hi, Hoodle!
Can't get out of this!
Glacier Wall! Not on my watch! I think I'll pass on the handshake.
Anything in armor is all mine. This one's mine.
Sleep now.
Magna Ray!
Blast from dark!
Dazzling Spin!
Searing Gale!
More where that
I'll
came from.
smash you!
Hurricane Fire! This one's mine.
This is...
Come on. You have to hold on. Going in. Thanks, Shion.
Lightning Orb!
Look sharp.
Raging Cascade!
One more.
Magic
Here's
is
the
there! A chain between heaven and earth!
Charge like that can easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop. This one's mine.
Art Seal!
Searing Gale!
Hurricane
The flaming... No! Can't end here!
Don't give up!
Now you've gone and picked me off. This one's mine.
I never miss!
Can't get out of this!
Make it ready.
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
I can feel my power growing!
Little help! You all!
I can carve through armor!
Light astral energy!
I'm gonna pull myself together.
These ones can run rings around us! Radiant Pierce!
Enough,
Annihilation! Radiant Here!
Searing Gale!
Thunder Touch!
Damn it! Too fast! Stand back! I'll trip it up.
Shield and Fang!
No escape!
This way!
Double Demon Fang!
More annihilation!
Dragon Swarm!
Here, let me
Try
help.
this!
Wind astral energy! First aid!
Explosive ring! Looks like we won. What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Doe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing, so she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegus right now?
Lenegus wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegus. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Elda Menancia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegus, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among many. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnigan's death. To see a future.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegis till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegis who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits. Looks like the people of Lenegis can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.
Have you guys... checked your equipment lately?
This looks perfect. Guaranteed to hit the spot.
In one sense, when all is said and done, perhaps I have been a slave this whole time too.
You, a Renan Lord? How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along, without the resolve to take a stand. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, all I longed for was punishment. A lord. And yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life, but I didn't know what else I could do about it either. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master, that's what separates a slave from a free person. At least, that's what Law's dad Zephyr used to say. Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught me how to live.
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Why, that's the road of freedom. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no freer than a slave. I think I finally understand now. This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met him.
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder, have I been correctly carrying on the torch that he passed to me?
How long have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been aware of it for quite some time now.
Why ask me now? What does it matter? But yes, I have. I've pretty much known that something was gnawing at you ever since we left Menancia.
So basically since the very start of our journey then. Just when I thought I couldn't feel more ashamed.
Leave the past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're forging ahead. That's what matters. If my brother could see you, he'd be proud.
Not as proud as he would be of his sister, I'm sure.
Well then, just as well it's not a competition, huh?
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh? I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix, too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegus.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What? Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegus is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegus are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it laid dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.